Somewhere in the North Atlantic, 3 miles beneath the surface, a battleship is sitting upright on the ocean floor. Its guns are still in their mountings. Its paint is still visible. The wooden deck is still partially intact. Nobody has touched it. Nobody has moved it. Nobody has taken a single thing from it. And here is the part that should unsettle you. It is not because nobody tried. It has been down there for over 80 years, and the reason it looks the way it does, preserved and almost peaceful, like a ship that simply decided to rest, is directly connected to something deeply disturbing about the way it sank. This is the Bismarck, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand why nobody is ever going back for it. By the time 1940 came around, Germany had spent years building what it believed to be the ultimate weapon of naval warfare. A battleship so large, so heavily armed, that Allied commanders lost sleep over it. The Bismarck. Over 800 feet of pure steel, 50,000 tons, 8 15-inch guns capable of hitting a target miles away with terrifying accuracy, and 2,200 men living inside it, eating, sleeping, writing letters home, completely convinced they were untouchable. Nazi Germany called it unsinkable. They meant it as a boast. It turned out to be a curse, because everything that followed happened in just 8 days. The Bismarck's entire existence as a fighting ship lasted less than 2 weeks. In the spring of 1941, the Bismarck slipped out of the Baltic Sea under the cover of darkness. Her mission was to break through British defenses, reach the open Atlantic, and destroy the supply lines keeping Britain alive. It lasted 4 days before everything fell apart. 2 British warships intercepted her in the Denmark Strait, the narrow, freezing passage between Greenland and Iceland. The HMS Prince of Wales and the HMS Hood were there. The Hood was the most famous warship in the entire Royal Navy, a ship that meant something deeply emotional to the British people. The battle was over before most people even knew it had started. A single shell from the Bismarck dropped straight into the Hood's ammunition magazine and triggered an explosion so violent that the ship did not just sink, it ceased to exist. The Hood broke apart in seconds. Of the 1,421 men aboard, 3 survived. 3. The news hit Britain like a punch to the stomach. The Hood was not just a warship, it was a symbol, and the Bismarck had destroyed it in minutes. Winston Churchill's response was 4 words: sink the Bismarck. But the Bismarck was damaged too. A British shell had pierced one of her fuel tanks, leaving a visible oil slick trailing behind her. Her captain turned toward the French coast for repairs, and for a day and a half, the British completely lost her. She vanished into the North Atlantic darkness while dozens of ships searched in the wrong direction. There was a real chance she was going to make it. Then Admiral Lutyens made the mistake that ended everything. He broke radio silence to send a report back to Germany. The British intercepted it, triangulated the signal, and within hours, every available ship was turning back toward the Bismarck. That evening, torpedo bombers found her. Most attacks failed, but one torpedo struck the stern at exactly the wrong angle and jammed both rudders hard to port. The Bismarck could no longer steer. She began sailing in slow, helpless circles. Her engineers worked through the night in freezing, flooded compartments trying to fix the damage. By dawn, the British fleet was closing in from every direction. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next. 2 British battleships and 2 heavy cruisers surrounded her at close range. What followed was one of the most brutal, one-sided engagements in naval history. Over 2,800 shells were fired. More than 400 direct hits. The Bismarck's guns fell silent one by one. Her bridge was obliterated. Men were dying in enormous numbers, and she still would not sink. After 2 hours of point-blank bombardment, the hull was still floating. The armor was simply too thick. The British were running low on ammunition, their fuel getting critical, and the Bismarck, battered and on fire, was still on the surface. In the end, the order came from inside the ship itself. With nothing left to fight with and hundreds of men still alive below the waterline, the surviving officers gave the order to scuttle. Seacocks were opened, charges were set. The crew abandoned ship into freezing Atlantic waters. The Bismarck went under on the morning of May 27, 1941. Stern first, battle flags still flying. 2,200 men had sailed on her. 114 came home. For 48 years, nobody knew exactly where she was. Then, in 1989, Robert Ballard, the man who found the Titanic, pointed his equipment at the North Atlantic and started searching. What he found defied all expectations. The Bismarck is sitting upright, nearly 3 miles down, and despite 400 shell hits, multiple torpedoes, and a fall of 3 miles through the ocean, the hull is remarkably intact. The teak decking is still there. The guns are still in their mountings, the paint is still visible. Ballard noted that the Bismarck did not implode. That matters. When ships sink with air trapped inside, water pressure crushes the hull inward. Ballard found none of that because the compartments were already flooded before she went under. The crew had done their job, right to the very end. So why has nobody gone back? The depth makes it nearly impossible, 15,700 feet. No salvage operation in history has worked anywhere close to that. It is not about money or willpower. It is physically impossible with any technology that exists today. But even if that were not true, there is a second wall. The wreck belongs to Germany, and Germany has designated the Bismarck as an official war grave. Over 2,100 men are still down there. They never had funerals. Their families never had graves to visit. The German government has been completely clear. No access, no removal of any object, no exceptions. Ballard kept the exact coordinates secret after his expedition to protect the site. A later expedition in 2001 brought passengers down in submersibles, causing real controversy. But nothing was ever taken, and the wreck is not going anywhere. The cold, the darkness, and the pressure create conditions where almost nothing decays. The hull could remain intact for several hundred more years. So there it is. The Bismarck, Germany's unsinkable superweapon, sitting 3 miles down, upright, guns in place, 80 years after she went down. 8 days of active service, 1 ship sunk, over 2,000 men dead. Undone not by superior firepower, but by a single jammed rudder and 1 broken radio silence. History doesn't always go to the strongest. Sometimes it goes to whoever makes fewer mistakes.